Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the 3 Count Super. I'm War Machine MJ, and I'm here today to talk about NXT from July 15th and July 22nd. Let's go ahead and just dive on in. Of course, July 15th was the show after Night 2 of Great American Bash, and what a night it was. We kicked off the show with Damian Priest taking on Cameron Grimes, finally getting a chance to silence the South Carolinian caveman. This was a fantastic match. Well, yeah. This was a fantastic match. However, Damian Priest put away Cameron Grimes with a reckoning from the second rope. After the match, he said he's going to be paying close attention to the main event. Now, something I glossed over because it's not in the notes from the WWE page was we kicked off the show right with the new NXT champion, the dual NXT North American champion, Keith Lee. Basically, he asked the ring announcer to say new NXT champion once again because it just felt oh so sweet. And of course, Keith Lee said he spit a bit of truth. There is no such thing as a self-made man. I mean, when you step back and think about it, nobody is ever self-made. They are taught either directly or indirectly by someone or something. Like something happens on the street, and the next time that situation comes around, you know what to do because you learn from past experience. Something taught you. So that something taught you, something helped shape you into the person you are today. There is no such thing as a self-made man. Anyway, basically, long and short of it, Keith Lee promised to be a fighting champion, and he was going to make that decisively known because he offered the first shot to Dominik Dijakovic, who was his best opponent and a frenemy. Because while they, bring out the best out of each other, they also, are just two cool guys behind the scenes. Of course, Dijakovic was kind of hesitant until Keith Lee told him, he's like, "No, man, it's all yours. You helped me get to the spot, so just say yes." Of course, Dijakovic responded. Anyway, after the Priest Grimes match, we had Indy Hartwell taking on Shotzi Blackheart. This was a pretty decent match. Towards the finish, however, Shotzi Blackheart got distracted by Aaliyah and Robert Stonebrand, allowing Indy Hartwell to pick up the victory. So yeah. Next, we had the I thought it was main event, but it wasn't. Happened earlier in the show. It was the NXT North American Champion Keith Lee taking on Dominik Dijakovic with both belts on the line. This was a fantastic match, but the story of this match basically was for every move Dijakovic had thrown against Keith Lee responded in kind with two more. Basically, Keith Lee was on a whole nother level compared to his war against Dijakovic previously. And of course, Keith Lee put away Dijakovic with the Big Bang Catastrophe. Afterwards, they embraced, just gave each other the same love and respect that they owed. until the lights went out and the air got cold as Scarlett made her way to the ring with an interesting bag in tow. She then opened it up and spilled it out on the ring. It was the remains of the hourglass that Keith Lee had smashed a couple weeks ago. The hourglass that was a signal to former NXT champion Adam Cole, baby. So, yeah. Next, we had Timothy Thatcher taking on Denzel Dejournette. Of course, this was the best we've seen out of Denzel Dejournette, as he used his amateur wrestling skills to disorient the master of Thatch's Thatch Can, which that's a clever joke. That's not a impediment thing. It's a clever joke. But Timothy Thatcher locked on a single leg crab, and Dejournette tapped out. But then Thatcher held on the hold until Oney Lorcan came out and basically ripped Thatcher off of Dejournette and sent him packing. Next, we had a backstage promo where Dijakovic basically explains that since Keith Lee had picked up both belts, he is on just a whole nother freaking level. And then in walks Karrion Kross, who starts, he starts speaking in some language. I want to say Croatian, because Dijakovic knew exactly what he was saying. Basically, he was challenging him to a fight or something like that. Dijakovic's like, yeah, all right, let's go. And then smashes him in the face. That leads to a brawl, and then they get led to another room where Karrion Kross just suplexes Dijakovic over a barricade and leaves him laying. And then he walks over, stands over his frame, and just says, "Tick-tock." So yeah. Finally, that leads us to our main event, as NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai defended against Tegan Nox. Now, Tegan Nox won the... what did she win? Oh yeah, she won the Fatal 4-Way number 1 contenders match back at night 1 of GAB. This was one hell of a match, but yeah, every time Tegan Nox had a response, Io Shirai had more than enough power to override that. Of course, Io Shirai beat Tegan Nox with that crisp, shiny moonsault that she does to retain her NXT Women's Championship. Now she's celebrating up the ramp. She just got blasted by the captain of Team Kick, Dakota Kai, who just... She made Io Shirai eat that boot. So yeah, Dakota Kai stood tall. And next we move on to the July 22nd edition of NXT, where we kicked off the show with a very peculiar announcement. Keith Lee basically said that he had gotten where he is by seizing opportunities. And so to pay that in kind, or to pay it forward, he is relinquishing the NXT North American Championship. Which, if you think about it, that would free up a whole division to go after that belt, not just carried on the shoulders of one man. Also, if Keith Lee had decided to defend the belts separately, 2 matches on a takeover, that would lead to a shortened opportunity to get on screen. So yeah, he relinquished the title, and well, William Regal remedied the empty championship situation as he announced that there will be a ladder match at Takeover 30 to crown a new North American championship, just like how the title was brought in. And it will feature superstars that win different through a series of triple threat matches, the first of which was on this show. Anyway, we kicked off the show proper with Dexter Lumis taking on Killian Dane. Now, this match came about because last week Robert Stone tried to apologize to Killian Dane for spilling his coffee on him a couple weeks ago when it came to both men's attentions about Dexter Lumis basically drawing out what happened at Great American Bash. Killian Dane was upset that he was captured in caricature form and demanded Robert Stone make things square between them by booking a match with Dexter Lumis. That's how this match goes about. This match was pretty much just Killian Dane doing everything he can to take out Dexter Lumis, but Dexter Lumis was being just... he was a bit tanky, you know. Shrugged off everything Killian Dane threw at him. Of course, he put Killian Dane down with the Katagame victory. With a Katagame victory because Killian Dane passed out. He didn't tap. He passed out. Next, we had 205 Live's Everrise taking on Breezango, who were dressed up as Mounties because Everrise is Canadians. Yeah. Anyway, Breezango got the victory over Everrise because Mounties and Canadians. Anyway, next we had Shotzi Blackheart taking on Aaliyah with Robert Stonebrand at ringside. Not much to say about this match. Shotzi Blackheart had no trouble taking out Aaliyah. Of course, there was some distraction from Robert Stonebrand, who was booted off the apron. And after Shotzi had gotten the victory, she used her mini tank to run over Robert Stone's good leg. And then she was booted off the tank unceremoniously by Mercedes Martinez. We'd find out later on in the match that Mercedes Martinez would hire Robert Stonebrand as her manager, or to use her words, take care of all the stuff she doesn't care about so she can do the one thing she's good at, and that's hurting people. So Robert Stone got a new addition to his brand. Next, we had the first in several triple threat matches as Roderick Strong of the Undisputed Era / former North American champion took on Johnny Gargano, aka Johnny Takeover / Johnny Triple Crown, taking on Bronson Reed in a fairly competitive contest. This was just a bang-up match. There were just several spots where Roderick Strong and Johnny Gargano put on just solid gold. Um, yeah, but Bronson Reed put down uh, put down Roger Strong to punch his ticket to Takeover 30 as the first man to enter the Takeover ladder match. Next, we had a promo with Finn Balor, the Prince, as he put Dexter Lumis and Timothy Thatcher on notice, given that all three of those men would compete in next week's triple threat contenders match. That's going to be a barn burner, just flat out. Speaking of Tim Thatcher, he put on another match against Oni Lorcan, which wasn't as good as their first one, but still pretty decent. Once again, two ugly guys with styles that are just as bad as ugly as they are. I mean that in a good way. Anyway, yeah, once again they kicked the shit out of each other. Um, Timothy Thatcher, he used a bunch of underhanded tactics that he didn't use the first go round, including fish hooking Oni Lorcan, and to get the victory, he rolled up Oni Lorcan and got the win with a handful of tights. So yeah, there was also a promo from Isaiah Swerve Scott, basically putting the NXT Cruiserweight Champion on notice. Um, Santos Escobar, I forgot his name for a second there. So yeah, that's going to be an awesome match. And finally, we had the main event as Karrion Kross took on Dominic Dijakovic in a very, very uncomfortable match. Like to put this in comparisons, this match was essentially Rocky Four, where Ivan Drago essentially murders Apollo Creed in the ring. Getting back to this match, the first chunk of this match, Dijakovic was just outpacing Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross had no answer for Dijakovic's offense until they got outside the ring, where Karrion Kross got bought himself a little bit of wiggle room. And basically, Dijakovic ran shoulder first into the steps. And then this is where things got very, very uncomfortable. Um, Karrion Kross Karrion Kross then drug Dominic Dijakovic and sandwiched his head between the ring post and the steps, and then just gave the steps a good kick. And then this was just the absolute best character work from Karrion Kross. He didn't. He took his time breaking the count. Like, he took just a couple of minutes to just soak in what he had done. And it wasn't like, oh my God, what have I done? It was, yeah, I did that. Where's your answer now? Then he calmly broke the count. Like, he didn't like slide half in, slide half out. He stepped up to the apron, climbed between the ropes, stood there for a good minute or so, and just casually stepped back out, picked up the lifeless Dijakovic, and just muscled him into the ring with no problem whatsoever. And then he slid back in the ring after Dijakovic and just continued to annihilate him. Keith Lee came out there to, support his friend. Karrion Kross just backed off and said, "Balls in your court, champ." What you gonna do? Of course, Keith Lee tried to step up to the apron when Dijakovic said, "No, no, man, I got this. Step back, I got this." And he was just basically pleading with Keith Lee. He's just like, "No, man, I got this. Let me have this." Keith Lee just gave his friend the respect and stepped down from the apron. He didn't put up much of a fight because Karrion Kross choked him out with the cross jacket. As soon as the bell rang, Kross let go of the jacket, and Keith Lee stepped up to the apron. And Karrion Kross just casually left the ring. Just, oh my God, this was amazing. One of the criticisms I heard about Karrion Kross from this match was, he's not a good wrestler. This is coming from the Going in Raw podcast. He's not a good wrestler, but if his character is not to be a good wrestler, but just to be an absolute bastard, fair play. Like, I can't think of a character on this level that didn't come off as hokey with all this. I guess the best comparison to Karrion Kross would be those bouts where Kevin Owens just kind of zones out and he just gets violent, or back when Randy Orton first brought in the punt, when he was just the absolute psychotic bastard. Like, if you just bump down their wrestling ability, that would be Karrion Kross right across the board. And this was a star-making performance for Karrion Kross. I mean, he's a so-so wrestler. He's got a great presentation. His character is great if they're going to continue with this "he's such a bastard" routine. We're done. Game over. Go home, boys. Anyway, yeah. It's just really, really solid gold. Anyway, that does it for the July 22nd edition of NXT. Remember, if you miss Rodney's opinions, he has a podcast. It's called Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime. Go check it out. No doubt he's talked about how good this match was from a character perspective. So go check it out. Anyway, that being said, I'm War Machine MJ. I'll see you guys next time. Ba-bang.